know, it's funny that, part of the training that I had was what he said. So I just wanted to emphasize on how I close sales. I definitely am a work in progress, especially in recruiting, but I really take pride in what I do because I know that, number one, the clients need the information more than we do. Okay, as much as we make money, right? Who actually wins more? It's always going to be the client that wins more because of the stories that Shaq has shared. Even I have a personal story, and I know that those stories, they're true, right? People always can relate to reality. They always do, and unfortunately, sometimes it just has to be emphasized at the kitchen table or on Zoom, however that point may be. All right. So first of all, the bulk of my business right now, now that I've been doing this for 5 years, is mostly referrals. Okay, and of course my team referrals as well. So these are from clients that I've already had. That because I've been doing the business now for 5 years, almost 5 years in July, I think I've built the credibility I already had, just added more belief, right? Because they see, they hear, and it's proven. I always show facts. Okay. Before I even go to a client, like because it's a referral, usually it's somebody that I don't really know. I don't have that, I don't have that personal relationship just yet. Okay. And I always obtain a history of the client. Why is that really important? Now, this involves occupation, right? Which means what do they do for a living? Because obviously, if people are strapped for cash, you're going to try to at least close within their budget, right? Is it a single income earner? Is it a dual income earner? And that's important because obviously, if it is a single income earner, you're going to really emphasize that, hey, if this person passes away, are you going to be okay financially? I always say it's bad enough when you lose a loved one, but it's a lot worse when you lose a loved one and you have no money. I always say that. I always say that. Okay. Who makes the financial decisions? Why? Because no matter who you're talking to, if the person that is going to sit with you is not the financial decision maker, you're not going to close that sale. So if you already know ahead of time that that person is not available, don't even schedule. Don't waste your time. Okay. And how many dependents? Very important. Because if you have kids, obviously, that are relying on their income, who hurts the most? It's the children. It's always the children. Okay. And like Shaq said, a GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy for your family. Next slide. Now, if they have an existing policy, guess what? You find out what it is. And this is where it really gets very important to know your products. Know group. What is group insurance? That's the one for you that you have through your job. Trash value. Oh my gosh. Every time I hear about trash value, literally, I don't have hypertension, but every single time I feel like my blood pressure is up to 200. Okay. And why? Why is it important to know what time they have? Because now when you sit at the kitchen table, you can actually go for the kill, right? Because you're going to create doubt about what kind of policy they already have existing, okay? Break it down and push that button and go for the kill. And then show examples. There is so much training available on our YouTube channel. Take advantage of it. I think we've talked about group. We talked about term. We talked about trash value repeatedly because that's pretty much most of my training. Get examples, right? It's all on there. Because guess what? If I know a client has a Transamerica policy, a trash value, guess what? I got millions of copies. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but I have tons of copies of Transamerica. I have tons of copies of National Life. I have copies of AIG. Every single policy I have a copy of. And if I don't, guess what? I'll call one of y'all. There are so many resources within our hierarchy alone. And you know what? You can't fake empathy. You can't. When you care, it resonates and the clients will really feel that. Okay. And that's probably one thing that I have going for me, right? Because I always tell my clients, if I knew this was a bad product, and that's not the language that I use, I'm trying to be professional, I would really want somebody to tell me. Really, seriously. Okay. This is basically what I was going to discuss, but guess what? Shaq actually addressed it. There is always an urgency. If they don't have insurance, they need it. They need it. Especially what? If somebody is depending on that income. You know that slide that is I think the most important slide, number one is, where they have the, on the QA is the husband and wife making $3,500 a piece. Oh yeah, I really kill that slide, right? 3,500 bills are 7,000, but what do I sell them? You see, if the husband passes away, the $7,000 bills, do they pass away? And they say, oh no. Now, are you gonna be okay or not? If they say, oh no, that's reality. Because now they're actually putting themselves in that particular situation. And then if they say, well, I might be okay. I said, okay, well, if you think you're okay, then you're okay. You don't need it. Because I'm not going to shove something down your throat if you don't need it. But guess what? I will shove it down your throat if I know you do need it. I will. All right. And you know what I say? Who's going to look out for your family? I said, if you don't get insurance, guess what? I might lose that commission, but who loses out more? Not me. I'm fine. I'm completely fine, regardless if I sell or not. But is your family okay? And then I say, do you pay for car insurance? 9 times out of 10, they'll say yes. Because if they don't have car insurance, guess what? They probably need it too. Right? And I say, how much do you pay for car insurance? And then they'll be like, oh, I pay this much. So you mean to say you can pay for car insurance that will give you back the price of your car? And I always say, how old is your car? And how much do you pay? So, and you don't want to pay $100-something to give $500,000 potential to your family? I said, how is that okay? How is that okay? So you're okay to protect your car, but you're not okay to protect your life. Again, it gets real. And I said, guess what? Car insurance, homeowners, they're mandated by the government. I always say this in my talks. And I say, why do you think it's mandated? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I said, yeah, guess what? Because the government is protecting the creditors, not you, the creditors. Because if you buy a house and you didn't pay off that house, your house burns down, guess who pays that? Your insurance. Who are they protecting? The creditors. They're protecting them. I said, what about your life? Who's protecting your life? The government is putting that responsibility on you. Because guess what? When you're dead, you can't pay taxes, right? I say that all the time, and it works. Hey, but it's true. It's not even like I'm making stuff up. Everything I'm saying is exactly true. This is the slide that I go for the kill here, right here. Because this is when things get real. If you can't pay for a mortgage, where are you going to live? Do you want to move back with a friend? Is your family going to eat? I mean, it just gets real right there. This in itself should sell, period. Right? Of the need. Selling the need is right there. Okay, next slide. I just said this, be honest and empathetic. What we do is good business, right? And that's why the belief is there already. If you don't have belief, you don't even have insurance for yourself, if you don't have investments for yourself, how are you going to sell the product yourself? Now, if you don't need it, you don't need it, right? But if you need it and you don't have it, then how can you be an example to your clients? Just be honest and empathetic. Empathy gets you to so many places, right? But the thing is, it's the right thing to do. If somebody has a trash value, like I had a client who was paying $800 a month for 6 months, paid $4,800, right? For $500,000 of a death benefit. When I looked at her policy, it was gonna lapse in 21 years. No cash value. She had, and good thing, and I didn't even know this client, $800 a month, paid for 6 months, $500,000 of a death benefit. And granted, she was in her 50s. So I gave her a quote. It was $200 something, right? What did I tell her? let's put that money somewhere else and let's put it to good use. And that way, guess what? You got your insurance, and if something happens, your family's going to be taken care of. I said, but then you're also simultaneously building your investments so that you become self-insured and then you don't need insurance anymore. And I always tell clients that this is funny because this is one of the things that this is one of the, probably one of the biggest objections that I get. Our company is too expensive, right? Because it's true. And I tell this in the very, very beginning. I say, look, we are not the cheapest, but guess what? Remember, what? You get what you pay for, right? And what I say precisely is that with Chad, we pay our death claims on a very timely fashion compared to other companies. Yeah, you can get it cheap, but guess what? When your family needs it, are they going to pay out that death claim? And I've been called out from somebody from a group saying that our insurance is expensive. I said, you know what? I'd rather pay that, but I know my family's going to get the money. What about you? Yeah, you're going to pay dirt cheap, but then when it comes to the fact that, you need that death claim, your family needs that money, they're not going to pay out. This is why stories are very important. Like I said, it's very relatable to people, okay? And if you're already honest about the price in the beginning, that we're not the cheapest, even when they do the research, they'll see that there are other companies that are cheaper. But what do I always say? You get what you pay for. It's too good to be true. It's too good to be cheap. Right? And, like I said, I mean, most of you already know that, this company actually paid out the death claim of my brother-in-law. That was the first death claim that I actually had to process with the help, of course, of solar. He was 41. He died of brain cancer. He was diagnosed at 39. And you know what? He was the healthiest of all the brothers because he actually went to the gym. Right? He exercised. He biked. But guess what? In less than 3 weeks, that $600,000 check was cut. Less than 3 weeks. Oh, and she didn't even have to call anyone. I called my sister-in-law. And that's a customer service that you do not get from others. You'll get a 1-800 number, they'll put you on hold. Good luck with that. Right? So again, you get what you pay for. So I always say, I'd rather pay more money, but I know my family will be taken care of. Okay? And I just wanted to share this one because as you all know, I mean, most of you guys know that I actually flew to California because a family member of mine had passed away. He was also, these people in the early 40s. He passed away. He was basically found unconscious, and unfortunately, by the time the ambulance came, he was already dead. So he only had group insurance, okay, and he died in February. And I basically am in contact with the family. I'm very, very close to this kid. Okay? He's a kid to me because when I first, spent time with his family, I was in my early 20s and he was like 13 years old. Okay. So he calls me auntie. All right. Matter of fact, he calls me his favorite auntie. I'm going to claim it. So anyways, he passed away and I was just talking to the sister. The sister actually reached out to me and said, auntie, I need life insurance. I said, cool. I said, I've been trying to, get her for like 2 years now because I knew she needed it. She had, And she told me that her death claim for her brother in February, and this is in June now, all right? They had not paid out the death claim. This was a group insurance for his job. He's been working for this company for 20 years, okay? Now, thank God they're assisting him, right? Assisting the family rather. But what happened was, they were telling them that when they got the death certificate, it said deferred. And that's why they cannot pay the death claim until that is changed. Okay? Well, because it's not specific. So they don't know. Deferred means they don't like deferred. But what the insurance company was saying is it has to be changed. And of course, the family was like, well, first of all, I didn't write that on the death certificate. He died suddenly of natural causes, but it wasn't indicated. So they called the coroner, and guess what? The coroner said, oh, shoot, we're backed up by 8 months. 8 months. Now imagine if there was a real, now, granting he didn't have like kids, right? But the issue is like, what if it was somebody that did have kids that only had group insurance? There's always a story, all right? Always, but it's not just a fake story. These are real stories. 3 months already, he's passed away. They had to pay the death penalty. And if the coroner says 8 months, I mean, what can they do, right? And unfortunately, they actually said that if it's not addressed within 31 days, it will be transferred to California's unclaimed funds account. This is real. These are real stories, man. Use them. And I did want to end with that. So, do you guys have any questions? Am I supposed to open for questions? Sorry. Any questions? Yes.
There's no way to fight that if it's like out because it says 31 days, but it's not their control that the coroner box backed up and they didn't. It's not like they put down the further.
Right.
So there's no way to.
No, they're still fighting it, but the point of the story is they are fighting. Okay. The point is this happens all the time with you, right? This is why we always say, do not rely on group alone. All right. But yes, they are fighting, right? They have called the coroner's office. I think they are in the process, right? But and then unfortunately, when they call this 1-800 number they gave, they never get someone or they put them on hold. Same story. You get what you pay for. Remember that. Group is cheap, but it's cheap for a reason. Okay. Any other questions?